first of all, it's good to meet everyone. My name is Ivan Bates. I'm the state's attorney, head prosecutor here in Baltimore City.
2 years, we can choose what we want to become, judges or prosecutors. But through our career, we can change from prosecutor to judges many times.
So you don't have jury trials?
Juries.
See, we have juries, and with the juries, you have to have, all 12 in a criminal case. You have to, and all 12 must say guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Drug trafficking, firearms trafficking, organized crime. These are universal problems that unfortunately we suffer from here as well. And so my unit is really on the front line of dealing with those types of issues here in Baltimore City. And so we kind of wanted to come and share some of our issues that we deal with, that deal with guns and drugs, and also share some of our best practices. So maybe, hopefully, you could take something with you that you could apply to in your country as it is now, because I know that your main issue is heroin. But we have unfortunately gone from heroin to fentanyl because it's so much cheaper and it's so much more potent. So we just brought this example. So these are lethal doses of heroin, fentanyl, and carfentanil. So as you can see, a lethal dose of carfentanil is here on the right-hand side. It's so very small. And so these are our overdoses, deaths in Baltimore City are because of fentanyl and carfentanil.
So my name is Matt. It's nice to meet all of you. Thank you for being here. I've been in ASA for about a year and 3 or 4 months, so I'm relatively new as an attorney and as a prosecutor. All I've done as a prosecutor is post-conviction work, and it's been a joy so far. So to explain what post-conviction is in the United States, and just in case there isn't a similar situation in Romania and Moldova, for your more serious crimes, things like murders, major sex crimes, these kinds of things where people might be incarcerated for a significant amount of time. In the United States, convictions for those types of crimes, you might be incarcerated for the rest of your life, sometimes many times over. And in that instance, we want to make sure as a society that we got that conviction right, not just that the evidence was correct. You might review that on a direct appeal, say like, hey, this evidence was admitted incorrectly or not. But we also want to make sure that the trial itself was fair. We have a variety of both federal constitutional rights that go into that, as well as state rights that go into the fairness of the trial.
So units, we both deal with cases that are after conviction. But in the case of conviction integrity, I'll let Lauren speak a bit more. Some of those cases, at least, are cases involving claims that the person is innocent. All right? Our entire unit, we're not asking questions about whether somebody is innocent. The assumption for our unit is that that person is guilty. And all that we are trying to look at is to make sure that they had a fair process that led to their conviction. And I think that highlighting that is a great statement of how important the rule of law is to our system, that we have a whole unit of prosecutors who are just trying to make sure the process was done correctly, having nothing to do with whether or not the defendant is guilty or innocent.
My name is Lauren Lipscomb, and I am very short here. So I'll just play this. I am the chief of the Conviction Integrity Unit here in the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office. So our unit actually is comprised of 3 different subunits, and we basically handle pretty much anything post-trial, except post-convictions, which is what you just heard about from Clara and Matt. The 3 subdivisions that we have in the Conviction Integrity Unit are that we have a violation of probation subunit, we have a Conviction Integrity Program subunit, and then we have sort of like a civil subunit because we have a lot of we have a lot of post-trial matters that at this point are handled in sort of a more civil way. So that would be things like expungements, as well as Office of Administrative Hearings, which are these compensation petitions that are filed pursuant to the Walter Lomax Act, which passed a couple of years back. So we have these 3 subunits within the Conviction Integrity Unit. I would say that internationally, most people have heard somewhat of the Conviction Integrity Program, which is within the Conviction Integrity Unit. The Conviction Integrity Program is the program by which we review factual innocence claims after trial. And so even most recently, over the last couple of months, the BBC did a podcast called Lives Unordinary, and they actually did a piece relating to the Harlem Park 3 case, in which they talked about, from the perspective of one of the witnesses in the state's case, his perspective coming forward and recanting his trial testimony. And in that podcast, they also talked about me and the work of the Conviction Integrity Program.
One that can just sit there in court with them and give that little bit of reassurance. Not only that, we also help the prosecutors, because the prosecutors are just trying to prove their case. We're the ones calling the witnesses in the background, saying, hey, you were supposed to testify at 1 p.m. It's probably going to be more like 2, making sure that you get there. Do they have transportation to get here? Do they need a hotel while they're here? Do they need an interpreter while they're here? Anything and everything to remove any barrier to get them to court, to make them feel safe coming to